Hello, welcome to my studio. This is your instructor Linda, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to set up the quilling board and the quilling board adapters for quilling. So the quilling board that I use is a 12 by 12 inch cork board with the top part about being 1 inch of cork and a ½ inch of supporting baseboard at the bottom. I like this board because it is very good for long-term use and it has a nice thick cork for secure pinning. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to attach this circle template mold onto your quilling board in order to use and pin your quilling elements. So to attach this template to the quilling board, you will need 1 inch T-pins. So to attach it to the board, you want to secure the pin at about the middle of the top edge of your template. Do make sure that you turn the T-pin so that it is perpendicular to the template in order to secure it. If you have it turned this direction, that's probably not going to work very well for you. Okay, so here we go. Turn it so that it is perpendicular to the template and push it down to catch and to secure it. So you'll want to do the same thing to the other 4 sides of the template. And do make sure that you pin very close to the edge so that it doesn't move around when you're done. So here you go, very secure. If you feel that it's not secure enough, feel free to add as many pins as you want. So now that we have the circle template secured firmly onto our quilling board, we can begin to quill. So I am just going to make a basic loose coil, and I'm going to drop it into this template mold. There we go. Let's drop it into that one. Okay, so once it's dropped in there, you can take a pin and you can position or move your element around as you like for pinning and alignment, like that. Okay, so let's remove the circle template, and now I'm going to show you how to affix compass paper onto the quilling board and prepare it for your quilling project. I really like quilling board. It's very versatile. Takes a little bit of time to learn, but like they say, board is king. Everything that can be done on needle, comb, and otherwise any other quilling instrument can be done on quilling board. There are some people that I know who quill exclusively on the board and don't use anything except the board. I'm not quite that advanced. I prefer my needle and my comb for simple projects and my board for things that cannot be done on needle or comb. Okay, so to start your project on the quilling board, you will need compass paper. This particular one happens to be a universal 2 degrees compass paper. There's lots of different types of compass papers out there, so you can feel free to explore. You don't even have to have compass paper. You can also draw your project onto a blank sheet of paper and affix it onto your board that way. So the first thing you want to do when you have your compass paper or your planning sheet is you want to draw the diagram of the project that you're doing so that you have a roadmap or a guideline as to what you want to do in that particular project. So, as an example, this happens to be one that I drew in for my mandala. And see, you can see I demarked the radians on the mandala there. You can also print out compass paper that already has the patterns marked on it for use. This one happens to be a 6-slice pie compass. Okay, so this particular compass paper is just your 8.5 by 11 paper, and it is made to fit perfectly onto this particular quilling board. So what you will want to do is you want to put your compass paper or your project into some sort of protective sleeve. Now this one happens to be just a sheet cover that I bought from your local stationery store, Staples. If you don't have one of these sheets, a large sandwich bag works just fine. Anything that is plastic and is big enough for your paper to slide in will be just fine. So there we go. I have the compass paper put into the bag. So now what we want to do is we want to affix this compass paper onto our board so that it doesn't slide around when we're working on the project. So I like to affix my compass paper using these flat-headed thumbtacks. You don't have to use these, of course. You can use pins or whatever you like, really. I do like these flat-headed ones just because they don't get in the way and they don't basically bump on my elbows when I'm working on the project. So to pin it down, you want to pin down one corner first, and then with your hand, flatten the paper so that all the air bubbles are out of the paper. Now this is very important because if you have any wrinkles or bubbles in your paper, your project may not align properly or may not otherwise sit properly when you're trying to pin things down. Okay, so once you've got the two bottom pins secured, you want to push so that all the air is out of your project, like so, and then secure the top two corners. So here we go. The compass paper now is attached to the quilling board. So when you're quilling, you can certainly, of course, just use pins as alignment for your quilling paper. However, sometimes when you use pins, you can get very, very sharp loops and loops that collapse. So using these adapters can help to solve that. The nice thing about the adapters as well too is they'll help to keep your loops symmetrical and a consistent size. So when you're doing a project, you can pretty much be guaranteed that all of your elements will look the same if that is what you need in your particular project. So you can see these adapters come in numerous different sizes and diameters. When you're using a bigger adapter, of course, you'll get bigger, fluffier loops. If you're using a smaller adapter, then you'll get smaller loops. So if I was to demonstrate, if you use a big one, you'll get a big loop like that. If you use a little one, you'll get a smaller loop like that. Nice thing about these adapters too is they're fairly secure on the board, so you can pull pretty hard without having to worry about collapsing your loop or ending up with a inconsistent size. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use one of these adapters. Most commonly, I use the adapters with a pearl-headed sewing pin. So, one of these. Now, if you don't have a pearl-headed pin, you can also use a round one. Now, it's very important because this board is only 1 inch thick. You want to use either a 1 inch or a 1 1/4 inch sewing pin. Otherwise, it may hit the bottom of the board and you will not get a tight affix when you try to attach the adapter. Okay, so I'm going to show you the big adapter, just simply because on the camera it's probably the easiest to see. Okay, so the adapter has two sides. This top part here with the gasket in it is the top part. If I turn it around, you can see that this has a piece on the inside that helps to align the adapter, and this goes on the bottom, so this way up. So to affix it to the board, you want to use your pin and slide it into the adapter hole. Then you figure out where on your project you want that particular adapter to be, and you pin it down onto the board. Okay? So in order to firmly secure the adapter onto the board, I do use a push tool. Now, one of the first things my students always do is they look at this and they say, oh, it's a hammer, and they try to do that. Yeah, don't do that. That doesn't work very well. That's not how it's used. So this is just a push tool. If you don't have one of these, you can use a sewing thimble or you can use a metal ruler. Anything with a hard, flat surface will work. I do like this particular style because it is easy to grip and it has a handle to better balance when you're pushing down. So once you've got the pin more or less in so that it's not sliding around in a different position than what you want, you will use this to push it down onto the board so that it is secure and doesn't move. See? Just like that. Okay. Then you can grab another adapter. I'm going to grab the same size. Goes in there, and I'm going to put this here on my project. Like so. Okay. Nice and secure. Okay, so once you've got all of your adapters pinned into the position in your project, then you can, with your quilling paper, start to loop and make your project. I do prefer the extra long paper that is over 1 meter long for quilling board, just simply because there is less issues with running out of paper and having to attach multiple small strips in the middle of your project. Makes your project a lot more seamless and with less kinks, which you get where you attach the papers together. Okay, so that's pretty much how you set up the quilling board. I hope that this video was informative and that you will join me in my next video. Thank you very much for watching.